It was sad. I just didn't like watching Nelly struggle.
Yeah, I would have go down 9-5, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, he struggled. He didn't quit or anything like that, but, TJ loves him.
He's been getting such a good edit this season, and I think he had really improved as far as his gameplay and even his interviews. Mm-hmm. I really wanted to see him go further, and it really makes me sad. In fact, I've actually, just this week, I've been rewatching last season of the Challenge to the Spies, Lies, and Allies. His interviews are night and day from what they were last season. Last season, his first interview, because remember when they had they had to get unlocked from like the concrete blocks and they had to pick a partner. It was so bad, his interview. It was like he was like reading like 3 words on a piece of paper.
Well, now he's gonna,
and I can feel rumbles. They are running.
Yeah,
they're going to unlock us. Yes. That's my partner. It was like that. Yeah. So, he has improved in all aspects of the game. It just didn't work out for him this time, and that made me really sad.
He's going to go back and get stronger and faster and smarter because he loves this game and being on the field. And
blessed.
You know what I love about that? I love the fact
nowhere else I'd rather be.
Yeah, when he said nowhere else I'd rather be than on this field and be part of this game. And he has embraced that this is America's 5th major sports championship. And I appreciate that.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
What up, Challenge fans? We are Final Alliance Podcast. We just finished watching episode 12 of the Challenge, season 38, titled Frenemy of the State.
Yeah, welcome back to me. Again, I finally get off and on shaking whatever that everybody's getting, but I just don't want to. I always look out for you and your family and just think like, hey, if I'm feeling under the weather, I'm not going to make it. But you did another fantastic job without me last week, but...
Thanks.
We made it to this one.
Yeah,
we made it to this one. I can't let this ride or die just die after just because it's a little cold like 2 weeks ago. So I'm back. So it was another 90-minute episode. Frenemy of the State. Interesting title.
I like the title a lot. Better than some of the other ones that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
For really strange reasons, I cheered quite a bit this episode. Did you
notice that? Yeah. A lot of things, because a lot of things seem to be going like the direction you wanted it to, even though right away you were calling out a lot of the shots that producers wanted to do.
Oh, for sure.
And I could see it too, where I'm like, yep. And I was like, you're dead on, yep. And you're like, oh, okay, this is going to happen. I'm like, uh-oh.
Well, yeah, right from the start, they have Casey talking about how her team is so great, and yet they have 2 wins in a row. And I'm like, so they're going to lose.
yeah. And right away.
And she said, and they can't afford to lose anybody because they're all so good. I'm like, they're going to lose.
They're definitely going to lose, yeah. And then that's the last we're going to see of Casey, outside of the competition part of it.
Yeah, you're right. We didn't really see Casey at all.
Yeah. And the only other time we really see her after that is when they go to the actual zone or whatever you call it, and her and Olivia have matching stocking caps, and I thought Casey was in a relationship with Nani, but apparently they have the lesbian stocking caps together. So good for them.
I think those are actually Jay's. Like, I think Jay has a stocking cap brand.
Oh, does he?
I do.
Like the same one you can get at any gas station anywhere across the Midwest if you're traveling anywhere.
They're like longer, like a gnome, or I don't know.
One was longer, one wasn't.
Oh, well then I don't know.
That's why I thought you were gonna catch that and be like, now come on, they weren't exactly the same, but anyway, yeah, they had matching stocking caps, but.
So, 90 minutes again, we'll say that's too long. So there's lots of conversations that I don't want to go through everything because it's boring. You guys watch the episode. As you know, it's their time.
That's right.
For the drinking game.
Do the shot.
Take a drink, because we always have to tell you that we do watch the episode together. So we just watched it together live, and here we are recording and filming the episode. So the thing that got me most excited at the beginning of the episode was first it starts with a phone call after some things happen.
Yeah.
There's a love fest between Nani and Bananas. And
oh, yeah.
Chauncey.
Can we talk about that real quick? Because we briefly talked during the show. Everyone out there that listens, that follows the show, that listens to podcasts, they know I'm a Bananas guy. I just don't need him to give his accolades, his push, his
words of affirmation.
Yes, to Nani, and be like, I'm just proud of you that you got this far and you've come over so much. It's just too much. Like, yes, he's a champion. He's on the Mount Rushmore, but we don't need this anymore. This is what I'm talking about when we talk about the 90 minutes, folks. that you just don't
They're
need
just
this.
having their love
You don't.
fest.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
need that 60-second, 90 seconds of just like. And she's like, "Thank you, Johnny. It means so much." And it's the same thing every
She's
time.
in her purple robe, and I think now this is the thing. The purple robe has been in like the last like 3 episodes. So now I'm just going to be looking for the purple robe.
Yeah,
It looks really cozy.
It's always always like I'm just really here. I'm here for you. And
But
this is a slow play for where he like has to turn on her and do
God, I
like
hope not.
I do. I hope it's gonna be great. Then after all the stuff he did just to do it for yeah.
I hope it's not that. I was just about to say, it does show these two actually are ride or dies as opposed to some of the other groups that you're like, there's no way.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah.
Nelly gets a phone call, and of course, like we haven't seen any phone calls to my knowledge this whole season. So I'm like, oh no, like this is probably bad news. But then we see Cory's face.
Yeah.
And I got so excited, so like weirdly excited. I'm like, oh my God, it's Cory. And Cory just gives Nelly like a wonderful pep talk.
It was a good pep talk. And it had some insight.
Yeah, reminded him while he's there. He's like, you're here to win. And, get out Fessy, get out Bananas, because Cory's always talking about getting out Bananas.
Yeah.
And then Nelly says he's been working with Fessy.
Yeah, but I mean, has he? I mean, one time really, or whatever else, where they were about that. I don't think it's too much like they were in cahoots. Like, yeah, they're on the team together, and he and Fessy wanted Nelly on there, but it wasn't like so much. But yeah, even when Cory's not in the game, Bananas is in his dome. So
for sure. Oh, yeah. And there was. I'm just gonna pull it up now. There was a tweet from Fessy in regards to this conversation, like talking smack on Cory, and then Cory came back at him. So Fessy says, I don't want to hear Cory's ass crying, neither when he gets tossed in for talking reckless. And then Cory says, nah, I don't want to hear it. Here you go with that big talk. Y'all playing patty cake, or we trying to get this bag.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, get the W. That's a big, outside of the theme of Frenemy of the State, could have been get that dub. There's a lot of get that dub, get that W out there.
Or I'm an effing dog.
The under effing dogs.
No, it's I'm an effing dog.
It says it goes.
Their underdog.
Yeah.
Is their team name.
Yeah.
But then when they go in the circle, it goes, I'm a dog. You're a dog.
You're a dog.
I'm an effing dog.
And then when they keep going later on, they're like, what are we? And they say under effing dogs.
Oh, I guess I missed that part.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah. So yeah, cool to see Cory. Happy to see Cory. That means we won't really have to do what would Cory do, because
he looked good.
He told us.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had that nice long beard.
Did.
Almost looked like it was straightened, but I guess we've never seen his beard that long before.
Yeah.
So anyway, awesome to see Cory on the show. Then we have a phone call from Jordan. It's his friend Sasha. And
this is why we don't need 90-minute shows.
I mean, I do like this part though. Like most people that follow the show have known that Jordan spent months in Ukraine getting supplies.
Yeah.
But if you're just a casual viewer, you probably didn't know that. So he, speaks to that and just talks about the efforts that are being made and things that he's done, and things that he'll continue to do, and if he gets more the money, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I thought that was nice.
Yeah, that's what his phone call's for. Check in. Just okay. Yeah. Yeah, it was. I mean, it's nice. Whatever. Yeah, sure. And they did a little nice PSA at the bottom. You can go donate to something.
Right, and that
cool.
was.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that I think about it, it's like, while that is nice, what purpose did that serve in this episode? Other than just to get us to like him more in his decision that he makes later?
I have no problem with his decision at all. Anything he did. I have more problem with him. But
they could have easily spliced that in.
Yeah, I have more problem.
Another episode.
I have more problem with him with his roundabout way of talking about it and his legacy than anything else. Other than that, I don't care about his decision. It doesn't bother me either way. So,
Mariah, and you had talked to me a little bit about this before, in regards to how you'd heard on Bananas podcast,
yes,
about people potentially throwing things so that their ride or die would be safe.
So last week, Bananas had 3 trivia questions and he got all 3. And he said he did get a little pushback from Nani and Mariah being like, it's a ladies' week. You probably could have just helped us out here and not got it right or whatever else. And he was like, and he did say, he's like, there was talk, people asking me to throw. There's not just him, a lot of other people. Mm-hmm. Now, Nerese, she said she never got any type of talk. She didn't have any talk to Nelly about it because it was a little bit shade, but it's like in jest, tongue in cheek. She was just kind of like, I didn't think he was going to get his questions right. So I thought I was safe. I didn't have to do it. So there was a good like back and forth between her and Bananas talking about Nelly, and Nelly he would take that in good stride. So I had never really thought too much. And there was some talk a little bit in this episode.
Right. So Mariah and Fessy are talking, and he says to her, are you going to help me win on the guys' day?
Yeah.
And then she says, well, you didn't help me on girls' day. And then he's like, well, then you ended up, you didn't have to go in anyway because of the draw or whatever, so you were safe. And
he said you didn't approach me to have this conversation to throw it. Even he threw that at her. He said you didn't even have this conversation with me to do it. And then he said, but you were safe anyway, so why does it matter? It's water under the bridge type of thing.
Yeah, I didn't like any of that.
No, there's no way you can. That is that's a toxic relationship.
Yes.
Well, you didn't approach me on the conversation.
But you expect me to do this for you.
Yeah.
It didn't seem, I don't know. Something about that conversation.
And it all worked itself out. So why are you worried about it now? Why don't you just do what I tell you to do? Mm-hmm. This is really bad. And if you can't see through this, how transparent it is, then that's on you as a viewer, or maybe you're just one of these people too. And it'll go on to Jordan and Fessy when they talk. When they talk later, that is just two narcissists talking to each other. And we'll get to it. I really will. And I don't like that word very much. I don't like throw it around.
No, people use that word a lot.
Way too much. Gaslight, narcissist, all that stuff, toxic. Too many times they throw it around just to be as a blanket statement of things. Mm-hmm. But we will get to how these two kind of talk to each other.
We go into the challenge. They hit us with the Jim Jones song, We Fly High.
Yeah, you really like that too. That's another one where you're like, woo, all right.
It was a throwback from college, it just got me excited. And I was like, yeah, this is a great song.
No idea what it was.
I would put this on the now that's what I call challenge.
I'm just going to co-sign with you on that.
I was like super stoked.
Right, I don't know this. But
this challenge was freaking awesome.
Was great.
I loved this one. I would do this one.
I will say
other
this.
Than it looks really freaking cold.
Yeah, but I will say this. The rules for us, the viewer, really wasn't that complete as compared to when I told you, I'm like, oh, it's a tie. Because when he said, because hear me out, okay?
Okay.
They take us through it, the different targets, okay?
So it's called Chopper Drop.
Yeah.
They all are on a platform. There is essentially a trapeze that they have to hold on to that's hanging from the helicopter. Mm-hmm. Helicopter, lifts them up, and then there are 6 different squares of different sizes and different denominations of points. The larger ones are less points, the smaller ones are more points.
Sure.
As you continue on, the ones that are the smaller ones for most points are closest to the destination you have to swim to. The ones that are larger for least points are furthest from the location you're swimming to. So the green is 5 points. The purple are 10. Yellow is 20. Blue are 50. Orange are 70. And pink is 100. And then they say it's the most points. And then if it's a tie, fastest to the platform.
Okay. Here's where I was like, this doesn't seem safe. Where is it? And if I'm wrong, and listeners, the show watching this also on YouTube or whatever else, where is it that TJ says only 2 can drop at a time?
That's a good point.
And that's where I was thrown off on this.
I didn't hear
because I was like, wait, what if they all just dropped it? They all tried to drop there. Because right away, I'm like, this is, number one, it looked awesome.
Yes.
We always like to talk about, would you like to do it? I would have loved to do this.
Freaking amazing.
But I was like, wait, if they all drop at that time, what they didn't is they skipped the 5, they skipped the 10, they went to the 20, and then the 50, and the 100. Am I correct? Is that how it went?
Yes.
So they dropped 2, 2, and 2, and they all hit it.
Correct.
And then they had to
6,
swim.
Yeah.
Now there's 2 leftovers, 2 remainder. You have Olivia and Anissa do it. That's where I was thrown off because sometimes we need that direction of you can only have the max 2 drop. When they gave us the one thing, the extra, and by the way, in case there's a tie, here's a criteria. I looked at you and I said, they never give us a criteria.
True.
I said, it will be a tie.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. They never give the criteria on a tie or anything like that.
Almost makes you wonder if, because I'd want to go back and see, did we see him actually say that? Or were they panning to something else and it was a voiceover?
No, he actually said it.
He did? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it is on him. It's a side profile of TJ, and he's like, and by the way, if there's a tie, it will be this. And we've covered this, and you know what? When we for the lack of celebration, when that time comes after Deliberation, we will have our own celebration.
Yes.
Because they did not have a celebration here at the bar during this episode, but we'll have our own here.
Yes.
But we've talked about this, and we've done plenty of pods, that there's so much that they don't show us because they ask a buttload of questions during this. So what happens if there's a tie, TJ? And then he gives it. So this is what threw me off, because I was thinking, like, why don't you drop, all of you try to go to the...
Well, and it went in the order of the people on the trapeze. So the people in the front went first.
Yeah.
And then the middle.
But they never told us you have to go in that order.
And I was wondering at the beginning, too, about weight differentiation. If that was going to be a weird thing. Nah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it didn't seem like, again, cool as can be, didn't seem like too tough to do.
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it seemed like, everybody who attempted it got wherever they attempted.
And even Nelly and himself, when he said, like, your boy Nelly, he got it wrong again. He's twisting around. Well, so was Jordan. He was in the exact same spot. Mm-hmm. So maybe it was just that.
Could have been that spot. Yeah. Correct. Well, and Jordan, obviously, because of his hand, he had to do forearms.
I understand
so that
it,
but the spinning as well. But maybe it just was that
I think
one
it was just that spot.
Wonky.
Yeah. But
that particular trapeze.
No, awesome challenge.
Loved it so much. Other than it looked really cold. Anissa and Olivia are on platforms. They're waiting because their team has more players. And we got Nelly doing the spinning. Bananas and Fessy are swimming out after they've completed it. And Fessy says, should we help them?
Yeah.
And Bananas is like, no.
Yeah.
And Fessy actually goes back and helps Olivia. And then there's a voiceover, or there's a confessional from Anissa. And she's like, I've been partners with Fessy before, and it wasn't a great experience. He has had all this growth, da 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 da. And I looked at you and I got really mad, and I'm like, he's helping her because it's a boy. Yep. It's a guy's elimination day. It's not about him being a great human
1000%. If it was the girls, he would have been like, yeah, it's on your own. You're right. Yep.
And
sorry to the guy. I mean, I've never shook hands with him, but I
just that's how I feel. I really do feel like he only helped her because of that, and sure didn't help Anissa either.
Mm-hmm. No,
which was weird. And then Tori and Casey, because they had the furthest to go, it seemed like they were waiting on them for a really long time, but it was just because they dropped at the very first spot.
Has Casey won a challenge this season? I mean, she's not performing. She's not performing well. I'm sorry.
I really don't think she has won one this season. Well, yeah, but I mean, also you have her ride or die was not the most athletic, so that can be a factor as well.
She's scooting just on who she is and her relationships.
I think absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so is Nani. I mean, but they did win.
Yeah, they did
win one.
They did win one. The first one they came into.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Then we have the underdogs going. Oh, did you notice Devin's interview look this episode? He's got like a salmon color, or like sometimes it kind of looks like peach sherbet blazer.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't bad.
It's working for me. I don't know. Something different.
It's an Easter brunch outfit.
And I always dog on Fessy. I did like his sweater this week.
Yeah, it wasn't
not a turtleneck. It had it was kind of like a gray salt and pepper chunky sweater. I liked it.
A sea sailor type of thing.
I liked it. I thought he looked nice. The morale for the underdogs, which they've named themselves, is amazing. I just love it. Like, are you a dog? Are you a dog?
Yeah. Devin's really trying to get them going. He's like, you're a dog, you're a dog, you're a dog, you're a dog. I'm an effing dog. And then they change it from like Team Yellow.
What do they do? Is it this?
Well, that's the thing.
That's what they're doing?
Well, this thing right here is this is from something that started in the WWE back in the day, the Click. Okay. And it's called Too Sweet. Right.
Okay.
And that's what they do, and they'll go like that. All right. It's too sweet. Right.
Are they kissing? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I don't know. But that's it. So, and honestly, which is crazy because I was laughing. Yeah, I was laughing about it because the kids these days, and I'm sure because you teach in the middle school, the junior high, the intermediate, that they'll throw up the fours for no reason for a pitcher, or deuces fours. You know what I'm saying? They'll do a picture and they'll be like that. And I'm like, why? So one time I'm with my daughter.
You're right.
My kid, I'm like, why are you throwing up fours? Like the Four Horsemen. Again, another wrestling faction. It all comes back to wrestling. Oh, and I'm like, why are you throwing up the fours? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, it's the Four Horsemen. They're like, no, we just do it. And I'm like, well, don't be like everybody else. I'm like, start throwing up the Too Sweet. And they're like, what do you mean? So if you'll see on like when I take pictures with my kids now, we just throw up the two.
I did see that.
So the underdogs, they kind of took that.
You guys were at a game of some sort.
Wrestling meet. Yep. Yeah, a wrestling tournament. Yeah. So we'll throw that up there or whatever else. But the underdog, they're doing that or whatever else. And then It's also like that's been going on for over about 25 years now. That symbol, but then they'll
probably if you're doing like a shadow puppet that
Yeah,
would look
yeah,
like a dog too.
yeah, but it also works in like elementary lunchrooms for like quiet coyotes. Instead of the
like if it's a mascot, quiet coyote.
Anyway, that's the Underdogs. They do it,
So
which
they
made
did it.
me
Was
laugh.
cute.
And I'm like, I'm
it.
glad we're getting it there. I'm glad we're bringing it back. Yeah.
Bananas had tweeted that he thinks that Jordan didn't actually get in the 100. There was
Okay.
something having to do with that, but they did go ahead and give it to him. So I don't know.
You watch that episode. You go back. There is wind coming up, waves coming up, and I said, "Oh no."
You did say, "Oh no,"
and it looks like it's coming up, like it could almost half fold or whatever else. Listen, Bananas gets a screener, but he doesn't get inside stuff. He gets what we got, but he gets to see it a week in advance, so he can plan his guests and everything else. So Nelly will be up sometime this week, probably on Friday or Saturday or whatever else.
Nelly will be fun.
So, spoiler. And then
you've watched the episode.
But he said, whatever his tweet was, like, it's what we thought on the side. There's no instant replay on this, and one angle doesn't make it seem that he's
Very
right.
True.
They watched it. They did the timing 2 seconds. Did they look at it and go, that's not fair? It's possible, but elements to elements. It's a game.
I'm so happy that the Underdogs win. I am so incredibly happy. TJ does say it was 2 seconds. Was it 2 seconds? Was it not? I don't know.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at Horacio, he's the only one that is totally buying it. And his face is like, and everyone else is just standing there.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm praying, whatever. And then Fessy's like semi like pacing 3 steps one way to the other and going like, there's no way they were faster than us. And I was like, everyone knows they were faster than you.
Well, the music they played with them was like so triumphant, and I was like, come on. So happy that the Underdogs won. It's great news. And they go into the house and they play Congratulations by Post Malone.
Yeah,
all right.
That's good.
Nelly is talking to Fessy about how he's disappointed in himself, which I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, and we need to go back. I think that the strategy of Jordan going back, swimming the opposite direction and helping getting the people who swam from a further location was helpful.
Oh, yeah, I think
that did help speed things up.
And sure. I think because it's when you see a teammate also that's coming just to help 1 out of maybe 3 or 2 or whatever else, the person that he's not helping is going to help. It's going to push you to go a little bit further.
It's
like I have energy.
Encouragement.
TJ says it. He goes, it was all about going back and getting that one thing. TJ mentioned that. So
they go into deliberation. And Devin, who, has just been phenomenal the last several episodes with just things he says and does, shows a piece of paper that is Operation Save Chauncey. Mm-hmm. He gives us some information about how, like Samber is a person, but he doesn't really trust her. This could build some trust in the game from her by saving Chauncey. But he's also not dumb. And, there are 3 very good competitors on that team.
Yeah.
So saving Chauncey is.
Well, it's to buy him some leniency with her or whatever else in case their name comes up or whatever, or on the opposite side. But
because typically in this position, the easy choice would be whoever gets the safe dagger does not save the rookie.
Yeah.
So by him doing this, I think that did.
How often do you see paper and pen in this show?
Not very often.
No. Every once in a while, you'll hear something like a podcast, like a behind the scenes, like, oh, I slipped a note using someone else's thing, like what they did with like a tweet or something like that of like Fessy. But they've done that before. I've heard that, like there's a note or kind of like a hit list that they're kind of like hiding. I thought that was really, really strange. He had back and forth how to save Chauncey.
And there were like different colors and stuff.
I mean, because they don't want notes being passed. No. They want conversations to be had because that's what makes good television.
But if he's like, I want this to be a prop in the deliberation, they'll be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. That's when you start to put on your producer hat. And you're like, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And they're like, have at it.
Right.
Other than that,
I'll give you some colored pencils.
Other than that, everything else, if anyone was just like, hey, can I have a pen and paper? And they started saying, they're like, oh, pen's out of ink. I don't know. We don't have any on set. Yeah, so.
They've had, but I remember last season, they had handwritten like math equations that they were doing to like pass time to like practice their math skills. So I mean, it's not unheard of for them not.
No, but it's just not often that it's shown.
You don't see it all the time.
Yeah. And that definitely wouldn't happen in the Big Brother house.
Oh God, no,
not one bit. So that's where it threw me off a little bit.
So the interrogation essentially doesn't really lead anywhere. Chauncey doesn't want to give anybody any names.
It's so dumb.
Bananas does say that, you know, Devin's like, you know, I can't argue with the amount of wins that you have.
Mm-hmm. You got to put him on the hot seat. I agree with what Devin was saying here.
He's like, Fessy's outperformed me.
Yeah.
Nelly says he thinks he can beat everybody, which I'm like, good for you. But I think that, I mean, I was thinking at that point that solidified him getting the vote. But
yeah, because that's the thing where you don't want to say a name. Well, you just said 3 names.
Right.
Basically. That's the way I looked at it.
Right. I can beat anybody. Yeah. Okay. And then Fessy, same thing. Fessy and Jordan have this very strange conversation outside where it's like they're playing, I don't know, double dutch, or it's just back and forth with each other where they're not really giving each other any sort of confirmation. They'll like start to confirm something and then they'll say, yeah, I can't make any promises.
It's two alpha males or wannabe alpha males. I don't even know how to say it. I don't want to take anything away from either one of them, but it's just 2 guys that don't want to give any ground. So it's a verbal tug of war.
There it is. That's the word I was looking for.
And Fessy's kind of saying like, well, you know, I think like I've respected you and we've had our past, but now he's like, I don't want to work with you, but he said something like, now I want to work with you or bear the hatchet type of thing.
And he goes, I'm not into wheeling and dealing.
Yeah.
And in like,
that's what it was. Thank you. Yes.
The next sentence, he's like, but I mean, we should call it truce. Like, I'm like, what?
I'm not into wheeling and dealing, but let's do truce and let's ride it out to the end. I'm like, that is the definition of wheeling and dealing.
And then he's like, yeah, I'm not going to say your name. Jordan said that. Yes. And then he's like, but I can't offer any promises.
Yeah, but there's no guarantee. He flat out says, I'm not going to say your name, but that's not and Fessy goes, I appreciate it. And before he can even get that in the period at the sentence, he goes, but that's not a guarantee. I mean, watch it back. Mm-hmm. He doesn't even let him finish his sentence. He's like, yeah, but it's not a guarantee. Mm-hmm. And Fessy's kind of like looking at him. He's like, yeah, but I'm glad you said it. And I was like, how does he not catch that? Like,
right.
What is going on here? So I think the timing here is all off or whatever else. And I still am very confused about Tori and what she does. But
I didn't really understand it either. It was confusing
before we get to that, they didn't give us after interrogation, we usually get to party situation, right? And so just a pause in this podcast that we have on here. You got these for us.
Yes. I went to the very exclusive place called Party City.
Yeah.
Because this is our 50th podcast together.
50th podcast. Yeah.
We've been doing this 50 podcasts. So let's celebrate with confetti all over my floor.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Oh, that was kind of
well, it worked. Anyway, like I said, we didn't start at the beginning of the podcast doing this, and then they didn't send us to the discotheque or wherever. So
hey, now I don't have to vacuum.
That's our little party area. So anyway,
that was about the equivalent to some of the parties they have had.
Yes, exactly.
Especially on past seasons when they had like the no fun dome.
I know. So anyway,
you guys, thank you so much for subscribing and commenting and liking and listening. We love to do this. It's just a fun hobby of ours, and it's great that there are people that actually listen. So love you guys. Thank you so much. We will keep going. And we'll now back to our recap.
Yeah, back to it. So so this leads up to the Tori and Jordan, right?
Yeah, I didn't understand. So Jordan's biking. Tori comes over to him.
Is he cutting weight?
He did. He looked like a wrestler, didn't he? Yeah. He had the jacket and his hood up and everything, which he's been doing quite a bit. Mm-hmm. She kind of says like, okay, there's one thing I don't want you to do. And he's like, I'll take everything into account. And then she keeps harping on it. And what she's alluding to, from what I gather, is Fessy is the strongest male, in her opinion, on their team. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't want him to be voted in. And she thinks he's the swing vote.
Yeah, based on past relationship that she had with Fessy and
right. Herself, and because we all know after they broke up, her and Fessy had some time together.
She just put in Nerys and was.
Ooh,
And they were
it
kind of
wasn't
like, and
personal.
she goes, "It's nothing personal." And then you saw Jordan where he's like, "Nothing personal." That's last week's episode,
right?
but
For sure.
so that's a pretty ballsy request to make, especially be like, "Hey, don't hurt my team just because you might not like him. Just do what I say."
right.
That's not gonna work. Come on.
And then she said
Tori.
that she had saved him earlier, which I guess my short-term memory is crappy. I don't remember that.
Or did she say Vanessa because that's her podcast partner, and then he
Yeah,
just happens
'cause
to
they
fall
were
under the
together.
umbrella? Like, come on, Tori. That you the negotiating part we'll get to, but I don't think she really brought a lot to it. She didn't have a good argument. Do I think Jordan took it a step too far? Probably. But
So we get to the zone. They play this Cage the Elephant song.
oh yeah, I don't know who that is.
That was I didn't even know. I didn't listen
No,
to the
is that
lyrics.
wait, Black Madonna?
Yes.
Yeah, I have no idea what any
very
of that means.
depressing
Sure.
vibes. I
Yeah.
was not into it. And I'm like, and with the 90-minute episodes and like holidays and stuff, I've got that like in between Christmas and New Year's lull.
Mhm.
I was like, this is gonna make me fall asleep. Like I cannot with this song. Like I
Yeah.
need to be pumped for the zone.
Jordan's got his big hat on.
And he had shaved. He looks really nice.
Yeah.
He's shaved. I like a clean cut look.
Hmm.
So we go to the zone and TJ asks Jordan first to
Mhm.
start. And I'm like, oh no, like, cause that's not like he could have shifted it a different direction, but now he's got to start it. And he says, I've always played a upfront game or whatever.
It's
blah,
my
blah,
legacy.
blah.
That's
Everybody's always
ridiculous.
wanted us or, expected that to me. And up till about an hour ago, that's what I was going to do
Mhm.
until someone decided to hold their personal relationship with me as a hostage.
Yeah.
And I do not negotiate with terrorists.
I liked it. Although I don't like his reasoning and I think it's a front, I liked his like speech and dropping it. It's gonna
It was,
get him in the end,
that was a good line. It was a good freaking line.
yeah, yeah.
And so since he votes for Bessie, and Tori has a whole fit about it,
And she starts talking back at him. There's no reason
and
to
I don't
jaw
understand
it.
it. Anyway.
Yeah. And she spirals in this, by the way, in this episode, I think.
I
quite a
thought
bit.
that since Nerys went home that like we would be done with this, but we're not done. I don't think we have even gotten close to
No
done
way.
with what we're going to see from these.
No way. No.
And from what I've seen on Reddit, I think people actually like it because they're like, it's actually a real storyline.
No.
That's what a lot of people said on
Sure.
the Reddit thread.
Yeah. They were really engaged. Like,
right.
except for the part when we made fun of it that one time when they did the recap and they're like, she goes, "Is this for real?" And I was like, "No, psych, it's not." But yeah, anyway, they were for a while. They have a skinless cat or hairless cat. Yeah.
But
Skinless.
yeah, I don't skinless.
Yeah.
Oh god, that'd be bad. Hairless.
Yeah.
So then the votes go as follows. The next person to vote votes for Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
Then Horacio votes for Fessy.
Mm-hmm.
Devin votes for Fessy. So those are the 3 votes for Fessy. Mariah, then it's tied, or it's
3 to
3
2.
to 2.
So Nani had voted for Nelson and Amber had voted for Nelson.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Mariah, if she votes against her ride or die, which she had said several times that she would never do.
Sure. When was this explained to us that if it's a tie and they can't get to it, someone has to go in?
I think it's happened before, so she was going
In
based on
previous
last season.
Sure. I know it's happened before. If you guys can't come to something, one of you are going in.
Amanda and Zach ended up going in.
Really would like you to explain it to anybody new to the show who might be, I don't know, Mariah's family, Horacio's family, Olivia's family who didn't watch it before, like what that meant. Like, well, I can't do this because basically, and listen to telling everyone here, if they got split 3-3 and no one was going to change their vote, she's worried one of the guys were going to have to go down there from her team. That's what she's trying to say.
Right.
So, what does she do here?
So she decides to burn a vote on Chauncey.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, Fessy still had more votes than
Mm-hmm.
Nelly. So Fessy still went in. So that's why Fessy was all upset because it's like, you didn't do me any favors here. And she's like, I still didn't vote for you. So we're going to see more about that later.
The answer to that is I can't talk them out of a tie. That's how bad you are. Messy Fessy is.
Oh, touche.
The answer is I could not. Although I was a leader. I am a leader of this team.
Mm-hmm.
But they are also strong players. I am one. It's me, and it'll be me and Horacio are the only rookies. I know well enough as a leader of this team, because it's my team that I drafted, I can't talk them out of this tie, and those guys would have gone in.
Yeah.
You created this mess. I had to step aside and let you do what you do. Just like he said to her early in the episode, you survived. It's all water under the bridge. That's all you got to do.
Touche. Which, if she were to use that on him next week, I'm sure it's not going to fly.
No, I don't think so. No.
So Fessie's voted in, then we go to the draw. Bananas goes first, blank.
Mm-hmm. And he has a deal with Chauncey, which we all kind of know. And,
oh, yeah, they've said that several times that Bananas would save Chauncey, Chauncey would save Bananas. Mm-hmm. Chauncey pulls it, and it's a safe dagger. And again, I have no idea why, but I was so excited. I cheered. I was like, yay!
Yeah.
Yay, Chauncey. I don't know. I really wanted him to be safe, even though I love Nelly.
Yeah.
It was weird. As they directed me that way through with the editing and stuff this episode. And so then that means he saves Bananas. It's going to be a repeat of a elimination that's happened before, where it is Fessy versus Nelly.
Different story back then, though. Fessy elected to go down.
True.
To get the Red Skull. A different season, though.
True. Good point.
Yeah.
Based on what this looks like, and it was like, I'm like, okay, if this is a strategy game, this is not going to work for Nelly.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really a strategy game, but it kind of was, because you had to pull the spears out a certain way. So it's called spearheaded. There are 9 spears. First, you have to untangle chains from around the spears. Then you have to free your spears and then place them at the finish line. And to free them, there's like drywall in between them. So you have to really push and pull and turn and spin it to get through the drywall. Sure. And there's some also on the ceiling of this cube. So it's all different sides.
Yeah.
It was sad. I just didn't like watching Nelly struggle.
Yeah, would it go down 9-5? Something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, he struggled. He didn't quit or anything like that, but, TJ loves him.
He had been getting such a good edit this season, and I think he had really improved as far as his gameplay and even his interviews. Mm-hmm. I really wanted to see him go further, and it really makes me sad. In fact, I've actually, just this week, I've been rewatching last season of the Challenge to the Spies, Lies, and Allies. His interviews are night and day from what they were last season. Last season, his first interview, because remember when they had they had to get unlocked from like the concrete blocks, and they had to pick a partner. It was so bad, his interview. It was like he was like reading like 3 words on a piece of paper.
Yeah. Well, now he's gonna
and I can feel rumbles. They are running.
Yeah,
they're going to unlock us. That's my partner. It was like that. Yeah. So he has improved in all aspects of the game. It just didn't work out for him this time, and that made me really sad.
He's going to go back and get stronger and faster and smarter because he loves this game and being on the field. And
blessed.
You know what I love about that?
I love the fact nowhere else I'd rather be.
Yeah, when he said nowhere else I'd rather be than on this field and be part of this game, and he has embraced that this is America's 5th major sports championship, and I appreciate that.
Love that guy.
Yeah. He's definitely gonna be back.
And then with the music that they played and stuff, it was all, at a certain point I looked at you and I was like, they're acting like he died.
I know, yeah. You got to give a send off to
he's been so oh yeah, that was cute. And then so they went and kissed, and then they played the song from City of Angels, Goo Goo Dolls' Iris.
Not making the soundtrack.
Kind of liked it.
It's not, that song's not bad, but we don't want that on there now. That's what I call challenge music. We got other songs we can get on there, like Black Madonna.
Ugh.
Whatever that.
No.
Man, okay.
I will riot. But this one, it feels so much more final because the last 3 weeks, no one's gone home.
Oh,
because
yeah.
Penny hadn't gone home, Nerys didn't go home, and then the one before that was when they just made the new teams.
Yeah.
So last week, I was like super like, I'm ready for someone to go home already. And now that it's Nelly and Nerys, I'm like super sad. I'm like, aw. Like, I didn't want it to be you.
Yeah, he'll be back at the reunion. He's not going too far.
Oh, no, I know. And I've already seen things from him in the reunion. And he actually was live during the show, during the show when it was airing on his Instagram and talking and stuff. He also had on a really interesting pair of sunglasses today that I'm going to show you. We'll make sure it gets put up on the screen. Tell me that does not look like the Reading Rainbow guy, except when he was on Star Trek.
LeVar Burton, yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of...
yeah, that's...
God love him. Nelly, love you so much. Want to see you
braids.
back on the
I
show.
want to make him a remake version of Criss Cross's Jump with the braids. Keep going there, yeah. Bring it back.
I wish his ride or die could have been Cory.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
it didn't work that way.
Yeah, unfortunately it didn't. So, okay, who do you think won the episode?
Ooh, that's a good question. Probably Devin. I'd say in small doses. That's the thing. In the small bits, he was there. But I mean, he's like, I'm coach. I'm the best coach. I drink beer all night. I sleep till 12:30, and I get this team going. Like, he's like, you're a dog. 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 I'm an effing dog. Like, I would say that.
We could also give it to Jordan. In regards to he swam back to help out his teammates. There were no complaints. There was no nonsense about holding on to the trapeze. It was not even mentioned because that's just who he is.
Yeah, and they didn't have to do this.
They also heroed his charity work. And then he had an interesting line about how just calling out his former fiance for being a terrorist.
Listen, that takes some balls. But again, the legacy thing, my legacy type of thing.
Like, if you close your eyes and you think about this episode, who was the star? It had to have been Jordan, right?
Yeah, it has to be Jordan. It really does. And it was around him. He had to make the swing vote. He had to make a decision. And I'm sorry, in my eyes, it was the right decision.
Yes,
so
I
can put that aside. Put that aside for his little roundabout ways of talking and the way he talks to Tori. Trust me, we can smell our own the way when you can talk about each other and get things to manipulate the way you want a conversation to go. And he was like on that bike. You can see Tori's just like, what is he saying? And he's getting it all to go his direction. And same thing with Fessy. Those two. That was not a conversation between those two, not at all. But yeah, I like you said, eyes closed. Yep, I can see that. It's Jordan. Yep. Yeah.
Who do you think lost? Even with winning the elimination?
Yeah, because you can't do that to Mariah. You can't do and be like, "Well, you didn't ask me." Like I said from the very beginning of this thing, this is very transparent behavior. To be like, you didn't do it, so why should I be in? You didn't come up to me, so why should I be in trouble or whatever else? Or why are you questioning me? Now do what I say, and because now I'm asking you. Like, and then the conversation when he has with Jordan,
doesn't that give you vibes of what he'd be like in like a romantic relationship?
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah, it's like,
yes.
Ugh.
And even when he was talking to Jordan, and he's like, "I'm not into, you know me, I'm a straight shooter. I'm not wheeling and dealing, but we should be a truce and then just let it play out like that." What? So he just. Yeah. There's a conversation is important because instead of waiting for someone to stop speaking so you can speak, you need to listen.
Yes.
And form a response. Be like, I understand what you're saying. Now, can you hear me out? And maybe we can empathize and we can compromise that it works together. But watch those two again, and they're just waiting for one to pause or the other. And I don't want to go back too much to Jordan. Jordan does the same thing to Tori. He's just waiting for her. Doom. And Fessy does it to Mariah. Well, you didn't. Well, you didn't come to me, or now I need you to do it, and you're my ride or die. You don't know how many siblings she has. Right. She doesn't know what your birth month is. Let's not lie to each other. Don't lie to the audience. And that goes back to, what makes good television. And people like us, and fans of the show, I don't want to say just us, fans of the show, they realize like these people aren't ride or dies. Yeah. Like, why would he talk to her this way? Right. So I think it's Fessy. And Tori could be a close second because I think she spirals in this. Just big time.
I feel like laying off of her just because I've been like so.
Sure, lay off her. Then we can give
Chauncey a name. I actually thought they were kind of cute this episode. I don't have time for that. And that woman is now 5-1 in eliminations. So even though she might like irritate you, like personality wise, she's a really good competitor. Yeah. So there is something to be said about that.
I think it's Fessy in this episode.
Okay.
Do you have anybody else?
Not really. There weren't really that many like characters that we saw. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we didn't even see like any of Horacio or Olivia.
No.
I mean, even Nelly, like,
and
aside from that last like 15, 20 minutes.
No Casey. Horacio, I said when they came back from
no real Anissa.
The opening, the opening after Amber came in, I'm like, Horacio looks awkward. Like he just doesn't belong. That's at the opening when they come back from Amber. I'm like, look at him. He just looks awkward. Like he doesn't belong. Like he doesn't know, like even how to hug. Like he's be like, like, hey, like there you go, welcome back.
Also, I thought it was weird when they're all giving her hugs, like congratulating her, because it's like all of you guys just pretty much were like, we don't need her here, or we don't want her here. But I guess Horacio is on her team and like does want her there. But yeah, I get you. I think he's just a little in general, even though he's so attractive and so athletic and very smart, he's still just deep down a little awkward.
Yeah.
And which makes me like him more.
And I think you'd be awkward too to be like, I know, and Olivia has to too. We are the one rookie pair. Like we are on the chopping block every single time, so it doesn't matter. So it's got to be a little awkward to be like, well, tomorrow's a new day. Like that, I'm putting that to bed. Tomorrow it's a guy's day, and they lose, I'm definitely going in
for sure.
So I can see
that. Cringeworthy moment. With the when Bananas whistled after like Jordan called Tori a terrorist and she starts yelling, and
yeah, that was good.
That was really good.
Yeah, it made me laugh. Yeah, that
because we were cringing at that moment that he whistled. We're like, oh, yep. See,
I still Jordan and Fessy's talking to each other. Like I wanted to punch pillows because I'm like, these two are not making sense to me. They're trying to make points and they're not. Their points are not being made. But yeah, I not cringe with. I don't know the terrorist one. It still makes me laugh. I don't know if it even makes sense or anything like that.
Right.
It just made me laugh, and
we could do just a tiny cringe would be Anissa's like belly flop into the water.
Yeah, that was a good one. Good call. Because when she jumped off that platform, I was like, "Ooh, boy, that's."
And with the cold water, that probably hurt.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I'll take that one because we had to rewind that. Yeah.
I did. I was like, "Wait, what happened?"
Yeah.
We don't have to do what Cory would do because we got to see him. Best line, I think we've got to agree that it's the
I'm a dog, you're a dog, right? Isn't it?
That one, not the I don't negotiate with terrorists.
Nah, I'm not good. Yeah, it's not good.
Because
we were like, we both were like, oh yeah, and good for them for getting the commercial pause at the right time.
Right?
Like, yes, that was good.
Oh, it was.
And then they came back and they did 15 seconds. They went to another commercial, but
right.
Yeah, but it was a good pause and everything. Yeah, so I don't. Up until an hour ago, I don't negotiate with terrorists. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay. Do I just move on to tea? I feel like did we cover everything?
I think you had tea.
Okay. Jenna and Zach just had their second child on the 27th, so yesterday. A little girl named Liliana Marie.
Oh,
congratulations
nice
to them. Yeah. He posted something along the lines of, I can't wait to show her first boyfriend my gun collection. Like, ha, ha, ha. Like some sort of like, just like trying to be funny. And people are lighting him up on the internet about it. They're like, how dare they assume that their child is going to be straight? How dare he mentioned his gun? Like, I mean, it is just a little bit much. And I'm like, can we just like celebrate that they had a child and then congratulations to them.
For as much as I can eye roll to that, it's even worse. I'm gonna have to go to a chiropractor for someone having comments about
like I mean he was trying to be funny.
Everybody
funny,
says that when they have a daughter, they'll always go that way and they're gonna make that assumption. Yes, you're right, and it's not a good assumption to make, but
absolutely,
dear Lord, how are you to sit there and say like if she's 12, 14, 16, 18, 22, I don't care, 42, and she decides that the love of her life is going to be a female that, oh, remember when you posted this? No. How dumb do you feel? Dear, calm down. And on top of it, so yes, I would never, it's not my thing to be like, I'm going to be polishing my gun or anything like that, but I would never, ever think to be like, hey, man.
I was surprised too. I was like, really?
Hey, man, Second Amendment doesn't mean you can, like, oh my God, just let him enjoy the birth of his child.
Right. But yeah, so congratulations to them. Now, okay, so now I'm like talking smack on what people said about what he said on the internet, and I'm going to kind of talk smack about what somebody said on the internet.
Sure.
So you remember Kylan?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen those things where it's like hit the middle button of your autocorrect or of your, and it'll like finish the sentence?
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
And this particular one that he responded to and it showed up on my feed was like, I got to pull it up because I want to make sure I get it right. It just, I found it to be in poor taste. It was
more than those sunglasses that you have of Nelly. Yeah.
I'm autistic, which means I, and then you let your phone do the rest. I just don't know that I would do that. I feel like that's kind of insensitive.
I'm not laughing because I'm laughing that how is anyone in this day and age would think that like I'm going to follow this trend and I'm just going to post this
on Twitter, and nobody, because like I'm not one to actually
it's
like
just
I might like talk about it with you guys, you know, or like our 5 fans, but I'm not gonna like comment. I'm not gonna at him about it because like it doesn't like,
neither
serve
am I.
me. But I did go back and look at it a couple times to see if anybody had like said anything, and nobody had said anything, and I was like, oh, okay.
Good, maybe good. Then let a dumb situation just be dumb, and maybe you learn from it. That,
but it's not what I would have done.
No, it's not what I would have done either.
Hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. Good news, the viewership of the show has gone up considerably. So episode 1 had 424,000 viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Last week had 663,000 viewers.
Okay.
A lot of people are attributing that to Survivor ended 2 weeks ago. So those viewers are finding this.
Yeah.
But that's great. I mean, more viewers is good news for the show. Love that. So Josh was at this Challenge Mania event in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And they had spoken about, or somebody had asked him in the audience about the Ashley comment that happened last year.
Okay.
That had gotten Ashley kicked off the show. And fortunately, they didn't say it because I've been just dying to know what it is. We know that it's an alluding to sexual preference.
Yeah.
But we don't know what it was. But Josh was very diplomatic and about it. He's like, you know, no hard feelings. Like, I have love for the girl, like she can come back to the show, you know. And he continues to talk, and then Tori's like, but she was trying to fill his narrative and you know, narrate his life, and he's the only person that gets to narrate his life, you know. And it was just kind of like, I'm like, I wanted to hear him finish, you know. But so that makes me happy that like there's no hard feelings there. So hopefully that means it wasn't as bad as we had hoped, or not as we had hoped, as we had thought, and what had been said on the internet. So that makes me feel better. And I gotta say again, even though like he irritates me quite a bit in rewatching last season, kind of miss the guy.
Yeah.
He adds a little bit more spice to the show, more entertainment.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I miss him too. I like to see grown men cry for no reason.
Oh.
So. Yeah. Nani has been crying lately, so might as well bring in Josh.
But then there's all the Tori and Jordan stuff that I just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one more thing that this is just very random. Okay, so remember that woman that quit early on in the show? She was Nam's partner. Her name was Emmy.
Mm-hmm.
And they had been talking, apparently they'd said that she'd been fined and she was terrible to be around, like the people that had been around her. So Nerese was on Challenge Mania. She had claimed that Emmy had DM'd Chris Brown, the musician, saying that Nerese had claimed that he was her boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Chris then reached out to Nerese because, like, they're, I guess, friends.
She was in a Chris Brown video.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And was like, who is this girl on your show?
You know? Nerese is like, who's Chris Brown? Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
And whatever. So then Emmy posted online today and she's like, no, that's not what I said. You know, I said, you know, we were having a conversation in regards to who's like the most famous person you talked to. And she said Chris Brown. And she said, you know, they were talking before the show and he told her not to do the show. And I don't know, blah, blah, blah. It's weird.
Yeah.
The whole thing is weird. And like, I don't know this Emmy woman, but I've had about enough.
Sure.
She just like keeps coming back.
Yeah, there's no reason for it. There, I mean, she's in the reason's been in the video. This isn't a
Right. But I mean,
a
it's
made up situation.
I think that they are some sort of friends,
Sure.
actually, like Nerys and him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was good to see her again. She's a good looking lady. Can see her tonight. Now we won't get to see her again until the reunion, but yeah, you know.
Love
NET, so her and Jordan still a thing or what? I think I saw a TikTok with them together. No, I think you're wrong. I saw a TikTok with them together.
Her and I think Johnny.
Oh, they're always off again. That's what she said on Johnny Bananas podcast.
Yeah, I think they had some fun at the reunion in London.
Yeah, she said that there's...
But maybe not Jordan.
I just saw a TikTok with them together.
So they do a TikTok together? They begging?
I forget the song or whatever else. But no, she did mention that she's like Johnny, and she said Johnny's in a different place than I am, but she's like, we are just drawn to each other. Mm-hmm. She said, every time we do an event or whatever else, here's my tea. She said, every time we do an event kind of thing like this, she's like, we are always end up like holding hands. We're right next to each other, shoulder to shoulder. But she's like, he's doing different things. He's modeling. He's 24. He just moved. Yeah. So it was good. She's like, we are just drawn to each other. But she's like, I get it. She's like, when I was 24, I wouldn't want to. But you know, I wouldn't want to be tied down or anything like that. But
makes sense.
Yeah.
And he's like just moving to LA and stuff like that. Yeah, I remember that now.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the news. That's what we got.
All right. Well, this is it for 2022.
I know.
All right.
Well, follow us on Twitter, Final Alliance 1, Instagram, Final Alliance, on YouTube. We are Final Alliance Podcast. Please comment, subscribe. We love to hear what you have to say. And on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, we are Final Alliance Podcast.
Thanks, guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.